Let's see if we can try that again. It looks like the answer is no. We cannot try that again. This is Sealchan, and this is my Minecraft Alpha 1.1 progressive long Let's Play. And that is a big hole. Today, we're going to continue the review of things that we did in round 28. And look ahead at what's to come in round 29. We're going to leave off here under the mountains of Divide. We're going to head to the region of Edgewood to continue the story. First, I'm going to place some dirt blocks. I'm going to write down that we have a repair job to do. And then we'll go. Oops. Okay. I don't remember what this looks like. For sure it's not that. It might be this. Let's check. All it has to do is look different than any other painting. Yeah. Yeah, okay, we're good. notice I decided that repair the art gallery is a separate task in the next round. Actually, it'd probably be fair to just add it to a task nearby. The ever-burning tree. When I get ready to play and record, I always load the world. This morning, loading the world came with a hiss. I remember seeing the creeper at the end of the last video. And running inside. I guess I wished I had stayed inside. I was going to try loading my backup world, but unfortunately, that world was 2 days old. It would have worked, technically, but I don't want to play that way. Alright, here we are at the edge of Edgewood. Which reminds me, I haven't put up a sign saying, "Welcome to Edgewood." Let me write that down. All right, where do we begin? Looks like we're going to begin over there. I've decided to I made an adjustment on my regional development process. It has some big implications, but isn't really that big of a change. I decided to develop regions as either simply cabins or cabins with one or more big builds. Which actually puts my method back in line more with my original series on release 1.1, which will never be finished. And it'll put us in a good position to start working with mods in the next series. Anyway, the early part of the process is to build a cabin. And here we'll have a farmhouse style cabin. The first thing to build is the tree farm. This tree farm is movable. I decided to build in a pattern around the outside. Similarly, with any big build, there's going to be a need for builder's workshop. And similarly, this builder's workshop starts with a tree farm. So now we have all of this available as wood. That we can use to build this cabin, this farmhouse, this builder's workshop, and this new design for a storage shed. In the next round, we're going to actually build that farmhouse. Or actually, no, we're not. We're going to start by going on a shallow mine expedition. We'll just go and check out and see what resources are available here in this cavern. Because then it would make a more convenient source of materials like gravel and cobblestone than the Edgewood mine, which is just beyond the Hunter's Workshop, which you can see right here. Ought to be fun to try that. So we'll see. But we are going to build the builder's workshop so that we can gather all our building supplies and work with them in here. Alright, so that's for that. Let's head back to the Hunter's. Yeah, let's go. Oh. Get ready for trouble. Let's see if we can avoid it. Okay. Well, let's talk about the deep mine. I don't think we have to go down there, or should we? It's not too far away. I suppose we could take the shortcut if I did this right. If not, it's gonna hurt. That definitely will hurt. Here we go. And we did it right. Fortunately, we don't have a ladder that goes up. Down here in the Edgewood deep mine, I'm looking at the list here. we carved out this room. We also went on our first deep mining expedition. At least 2 mine shafts. Of course, we'll come back and start 2 new mine shafts, probably right here. And we'll figure one out that's going to go off in that direction. Looking, of course, for diamonds, of which we are now only 7 shy of getting our full stack. Now I see that I should be doing something to further develop this room. So let me write that down. I know, because the development of a mining district starts with a workshop. Yeah, I'm a little confused. We got this thing furnished. I think we need to continue that work because this is a bit rough. Yeah, I'll sort it out. We'll work on something down here. Probably finishing off the room. Alrighty. Let's head back to the surface mine. This won't take too long. This seems wrong somehow. Yeah, I went and took a wrong turn. Huh. Keeping the torches on the side walls on my left should lead me out. And it does. Alright, we made it. Let's talk about the spider spawner. Grow grass, grow. So I built this killing room. I gave it a good test. I lit it up from above, which helped a little bit. Currently the spawner is disabled with torches. But we can always come here and collect string, should we want to. Eventually the floor will be a nice green grass. Alright, now this mine. We added the well. Kind of took this L-shaped rough corridor and built out a couple of connecting passageways. put our well here and removed it from near the tree. All right. Next round, we're going to add full-scale living quarters. I can put that right here. Not here. In fact, interestingly, nope, I'm not going to do it. Negative 398. I am highly tempted to make this staircase take a turn. This is centered on that entrance. Then we could walk straight into that room this way. This gives us room to have our elevator there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm highly tempted. Anyway, this is obviously the staircase. We can't build the living quarters here. We could build it on the end of any of these passages. The living quarters is kind of like having a cabin. It contains about the same resources. And I built it in a way that makes you feel comfortable. Like you're living on the surface. So, it'll be a fun addition. In the next series, when I get a bed, it'll be, of course, where I can run in and go to sleep. But not in Alpha 1.1. All right, let's go and look and see what we did upstairs. Be nice if it were daytime. Looks like it is. I built this roofed structure over the mine entrance. We have 2 exits. This provides the ultimate security. Preventing mobs from entering from above, mainly passive mobs, but hostile mobs as well. Yeah, and I like the overall look. It's still fairly simple. Chimney would be nice if it stood out more, but I think I'll stick with those building materials. I guess I could make it stone, but yeah, I think it's fine. Maybe this is missing a sign. So I wrote that down. Maybe we'll take care of that as well in the next round. Let's move on to talk about something that we did. In the last round, so we took a saddle and we made attempt number 2 to ride a pig. So I set out bright and early. We walked out around the other side of this mountain and we found a pig. Threw on the saddle and we spent most of the day kind of in this area. It was nice. Nothing spectacular, except at one point we stood on the very edge of this cavern entrance, and I was wondering if this was going to get dark. But he turned back, and we ended the day in a peaceable way. That's one of the last steps in developing a region, is to kind of enjoy it from a different point of view. Now we have trail work that we're working on along the Fairview Edgewood trail. And this time we built this pond around this tree. The land was sunken here, so I just filled it in with water. Simple build. All right. That appears... Oh. In the next round, we're going to build another pond. I believe right here. Yes. And I think I'm adding a grove, according to my notes. Almost seems like we could add some depth to this pond with an outlet. I'll have to decide how much work I'm willing to do. How ambitious. That is quite the interesting landscape. But building a pond that's 2 blocks deep is a bit of extra work. But I think we're up to the task. I do like working with water. So that takes care of the region of Edgewood. Those are the things we will be doing here next round. So let's make our way to Region F. As it turns out, Region F, it was time to give it a name. And as I looked through the list of names to choose from, one fell out to be especially apt. That name is Fairview. So here we are in Region F. Now we can call it Fairview. Unfortunately, I suppose, maybe not. Round 28, we explored the rest of this cavern over here, and we checked out every other cavern entrance, and then checked again. And we found no cavern system, no cave system that reached down to the lava lake level. So, unfortunately, we are not going to open up another mine with a deep mine. But we are only 7 diamonds away from our goal. So, it's okay. Still a little disappointing. We also took another walk around the boundary of Fairview and rediscovered its very fair view of the natural bridge and chasms and valleys that lie on the opposite side of that ridge. In the next round, we're going to build a hunter's cabin. There will be no big builds in this region, in part due to a lack of, well, I haven't worked that out fully, due to a lack of a deep mine. But this will just have a cabin in the region. I'll call it the hunter's cabin. So we're going to start by picking out the site where that's going to be built. We're also going to build a trail that connects our shallow mine, because we do have a mine with a double chest full of resources: sand, gravel, stone, even some iron. We're going to build a trail that connects it to the hunter's workshop here. Oh, we'll need a trail eventually that connects this back to Bellevue. Oh, we'll get to that. this cavern is going to play out. Alright. Oops. I don't want this episode to end with a bang or a fight. Somewhere out across this water. Not very far. There's some land. And that land we discovered when we walked out on our coastal expedition. And that land I assigned a letter. The letter G. And we are going to be starting a new region. Region G. Out across the water. I know the game is almost done. Click. But I yearn still to explore. To develop new places. It's one of the things I love most to do. So we'll continue that until we get all our big builds done. And then we'll stop. In any case, this is the end of our round review. We've taken a look back at what we've done and what we're going to do in the next round. There we go. Now I can begin to see the land. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you've enjoyed reviewing my process, the progression, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.